Mohammedans. My brothers of the sword. I'd rather fight beside you than any army of thousands. Let no man forget how menacing we are. We are lions! Do you know what's there? Waiting, beyond that beach. Immortality! Take it! It's yours!
The man wants to die.
Oh my command!
Speaking of this whole German thing with Wolfgang, there's two kind of funny things. There was Peter O'Toole gave Wolfgang Petersen such a hard time during Troy, and you have to understand people who were brought up in Britain during World War II, because their lives were completely upended by the Germans, by Adolf Hitler. And many of them, you get, they're old people now, but like Michael Caine and Peter O'Toole especially, if you could sit in a room with them and talk about the Nazis, they knew everything there was to know about Adolf Hitler. This was a guy who impacted their lives in such a negative way. And those are scars that and bruises and calluses that stayed with them their whole lives.
For sure, if we're talking about Troy, because that was what, 2001?
Troy was 2004.
2004, yeah. Well, I mean, I was still at Warner Brothers when that was.
Yeah, and Peter O'Toole unfairly criticized Wolfgang, and called him that kraut who was strutting up and down in the set, and it's like, I visited the set. He wasn't doing that. I mean, Wolfgang was a pro. I mean, he really was a solid pro and great to work with. And he was great for those big epic projects like that. And you don't see too many really intimate kind of movies. I know he did have a couple, not at Warner Brothers, but he was really big. He was good with the really big movies because he was a wonderful traffic cop. And that's what you really need to be as a director when you're on those big projects like that.
Right. Was he the first? He wasn't the first director considered for Troy, was he? He's a good choice.
Yeah. No. Yes, he was.
Wow, I'm surprised.
He was in on the development of it and everything. He was, there's a whole story to that we talked about before with Lorenzo, when Lorenzo wanted to do Batman versus Superman. Wolfgang was going to do that, and he had delayed Troy in order to do that, to do the Batman versus Superman thing. And then when the scripts came in, there was an independent Superman script and an independent Batman script, and both of those became Superman Returns and Batman Begins. So Chris Nolan did the one, and after a long journey with Superman, it ended up being Bryan Singer. I mean, many people tried to take that project on and couldn't get it done. And you have to give Bryan Singer, whether you like that movie or not, you need to give him a lot of credit for getting it done when so many other people couldn't get it done. And at the end of the day, that thing performed better at the box office than the Chris Nolan Batman Begins. Believe it or not.
Your road to redemption is paved with tombstones. No quarter, kill all masters. Go to noquarterkillallmasters.com. Rated R.